كانت أكبر المستعمرات الإسبانية في أمريكا الجنوبية منذ اكتشافها عام 1516 للميلاد، وتم اشتقاق اسمها من اللفظ اللاتيني أرجنتينيوم الذي يعني الفضة، وتأسست عاصمتها بيونس آيرس عام 1536 للميلاد، ويعني اسمها الهواء العليل. هي ثالث أكبر دولة من حيث المساحة، والأكبر بين الدول الناطقة بالإسبانية، وتتميز بتنوع بيئي من بين الأكبر في العالم. بلد متعدد الثقافات ومتنوع الهويات الإثنية. إنها الأرجنتين، بلد موسيقى التانغو وأساطير كرة القدم أمثال دييغو مارادونا وليونيل ميسي، ومشاهير الأدب مثل خورخي لويس بورخيس وغيره.
Hello, I'm Guillermo Nielsen, the ambassador of Argentina in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I'm very pleased to be on Saudi television for the first time. So, I appreciate you. I arrived here in September, so it's about a year and a quarter that I've been in Saudi Arabia. How do I spend my time? I would say working. I have a lot of work because there are so many things going on in Saudi Arabia of international importance and also domestic importance, but that are important for us, that it's very hard for me to keep up with what's going on in Saudi Arabia. So I have to work a lot. Nevertheless, of course, I have time for socializing with different Saudi friends, as well as with friends from other nationalities, and a few trips inside Saudi Arabia. I had great curiosity about Saudi Arabia, a curiosity that was brought to me by a Saudi friend, Khaled Al-Suwaiket, from Al-Khobar. And I'm glad he did that because, I was, at the time that we met, I was president of the National Petroleum Company, YPF. And of course, we talk about petroleum and petroleum in Saudi Arabia, and petroleum in Argentina, etc. At a certain point, I had to step down from YPF presidency, and I got offered an embassy in Europe. I said, no, I want to go to Saudi Arabia because of this curiosity that my friend Khaled Al-Suwaiket brought to me. The first place I visited was Al-Khobar, to visit my friend Khaled Al-Suwaiket and his family. And it was quite an experience because, I saw myself inside a Saudi family, a real Saudi family. So it was very, very interesting for me. Then I went to Alula, and I was thrilled by Alula, by the landscape, the rocks. They are fantastic. I visited also Jeddah, and I loved that city. It's a very international city. The weather is very different from the weather we have in Riyadh. Dirija is very important, very significant to me. It's a very interesting place. And all the work you have been doing to rebuild the history and to project to the future. We know that this Saudi Arabia is very different from the Saudi Arabia that was here, let's say, 8 years ago. Even even 5 or 6 years ago. So I see the people thrilled in Riyadh Boulevard and people looking at that and with their faces show their astonishment to see what they're seeing, to listening to the music and to see the shows that are all around. And most of those people come from provincial areas in Saudi Arabia that come to Riyadh and go visit Riyadh Boulevard and some other places, not just Saudi Boulevard. Saudi Boulevard is a good example of how things have changed in an incredible way. And I look at that with a great deal of interest. And this is, a very young country. And the percentage of young people in the population is very high. One of the highest that exist. So I think that this is the basis for many of the changes that are still on the pipeline that will materialize in coming years. So I'm looking at that. And Vision 2030, I think, goes very well with this.
العلاقات السعودية الأرجنتينية إذا عدنا تاريخياً ربما تعتبر العام 1980 هي نقطة مفصلية في هذه العلاقات الاقتصادية. نتحدث عن الاتفاقية الاقتصادية الفنية التي وقعت في ذلك التاريخ. العلاقات السعودية الأرجنتينية اقتصادياً كانت ما بين مد وجذب حقيقة، وهذا نستطيع أن نستشفه من حجم التبادل التجاري. أنا أعتقد بعد رؤية المملكة 2030 كان هناك حراك على مستوى الحكومات، ونلاحظ هذا عندما زار ولي العهد الأرجنتين في العام 2018 وأيضا الزيارات المتكررة لوزير الخارجية الأرجنتيني إلى المملكة. أنا أعتقد المقومات للأرجنتين مساحة، إذا شاهدنا مساحة الأرجنتين نحن نتحدث عن 2.7 مليون كيلومتر مربع، وهي مساحة شاسعة. نتحدث عن ثاني أقوى اقتصاد في أمريكا الجنوبية. الأرجنتين ترى في المملكة العربية السعودية فرصة كبيرة، والمملكة ذات ثقل سياسي واقتصادي. المملكة ترى في الأرجنتين بأنها شريك واحدة من الدول في الجي 20، وهذه ربما عامل مشترك جذب ما بين الدولتين يلعب دور كبير في العلاقات المستقبلية. حقيقة الأرجنتين في الواقع تعتبر دولة منتجة للمنتجات الزراعية، نتحدث عن الأغذية، نتحدث عن الدواجن واللحوم والأعلاف الحيوانية. المملكة واحدة من أولوياتها اليوم هو الأمن الغذائي، لذلك تكون الأرجنتين أنا أعتقد هي ربما تجد المملكة ضالتها في هذه الدول من ناحية الأمن الغذائي. وإذا شاهدنا سلم الأولويات بعد أزمة كورونا نلاحظ بأن الأمن الغذائي أصبح أولوية للعديد من الدول اليوم.
I get a lot of feedback from Saudi people that visited Argentina. And it's amazing, but all of them are thrilled of what they lived in Buenos Aires or in Argentina. And they are astonished by the similarities we have in human relations, the kindness of the people in Saudi Arabia and the kindness of the people in Argentina are very similar. I'm very optimistic about the future of Saudi-Argentine relations based on this, because I think we're going to be getting far more visitors than we get now, and they will get to know Argentina much better. And Argentina is a very diverse country. It's a big country, as Saudi Arabia is very big too. Argentina is big. And you have very different places. You have subtropical forests in the north of the country with one of the most impressive waterfalls in the world, which is Cataratas del Iguazú. Moving away from the wet area of the frontier with Brazil, you have in the Andes a very dry season, a very dry area that has many similarities with Saudi Arabia and the Middle East. Patagonia is a desert, but against the Andes, you get a very humid area with lakes, with cold forests. You have the Pampas were Buenos Aires, surrounding Buenos Aires. And you know, it's a plain, but with rains, very green, plenty of cattle, plenty of horses, and of where we get the most important crops that we export. And some of those exports come here. Argentinians are a very small community here in Saudi Arabia, and also a very diverse community, in the sense that traditionally we have Argentines, for example, related to the petroleum industry, many of them working for Aramco. Certain provinces of Saudi Arabia have been hiring Argentine doctors and dentists. In the top restaurants of Riyadh, there are many and very good. In some restaurants you have Argentine waiters, but we don't have a strict notion of how many Argentines are here. My own guesstimate is around 200 people, which is very little. But all of them are very happy. All of them like Saudi Arabia, and they are part of communities here. So you don't get people that are insatisfied with being here. On the contrary, they all have found their place in the world. The relations now are getting stronger by the day. For example, in a few days, in a couple of weeks, we will be getting the visit of 40 businessmen to Riyadh to get in touch with customers or potential customers for what they produce. And they produce essentially food or feedstuff. 2 months ago, we had the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Argentina visiting Riyadh in a very successful visit. Relations are waking up, and I think we will see the results quite soon. And we have people participating in different roles in some of the initiatives you are having here. We have traditional production. Also, we have relatively new firms that are dealing with electronics and internet communications and that sort of thing that are coming here, and they are getting a good foothold, not just in Saudi Arabia, but in the region. I have great hopes for developments to accelerate in the coming years.
العلاقات السعودية والأرجنتينية ترتكز على اتفاقيات مهمة، وربما الاتفاقيات التي وقعت مؤخرا هي تعتبر واحدة من ثمار هذه الزيارات المتبادلة بين المملكة العربية السعودية والأرجنتين. أنا أعتقد بأن الأرجنتين لديها إمكانيات اقتصادية تريد أن تكتشف مثل هذه الإمكانيات عن طريق الدول. لاحظنا إصلاحات اقتصادية في الأرجنتين تتمحور في جذب استثمارات خارجية، تتمحور في زيادة تجارتها الخارجية. ترى الأرجنتين بأن المملكة سوق استهلاكي كبير، ربما يكون هو محفز لها مستقبلا. على الجانب الآخر المملكة ترى بأن عقد اتفاقيات مع القطاع العام والقطاع الخاص في الأرجنتين هي أمور مهمة ستضع الأسس المهمة والأطر المشتركة بين الدولتين. لو نتحدث عن المجلس المشترك الأرجنتيني السعودي. هذا مجلس حقيقة ثق تماما عندما تتحرك المملكة لخلق مثل هذه المجالس، هذا يعني جدية الدخول في شراكات مهمة، جدية تفعيل هذه الاتفاقيات على أرض الواقع.
I knew about Vision 2030 before coming. That's one of the reasons I came. I wanted to be a privileged witness of some of the changes that are taking place in Saudi Arabia right now. What I've seen since my arrival goes beyond my expectations, well beyond my expectations. This is the view of the Crown Prince. And it's a very important view, very important view. Mohammed bin Salman has proved to be an incredible leadership in many, many areas. I'm also, I follow very closely the work of many of your ministers here. You have very good, top-class ministers in Saudi Arabia, and that is something that we should respect. There are many, many achievements on the way. I would like to come in 2030 to see the changes that have taken place, for example, in Riyadh. It's going to be very, very interesting. I like it. I like it a lot. I think I have also a view of Saudi Arabia in the international arena. There were Argentines working on some of the aspects of Vision 2030, some aspects, you know. There were some Argentines that work on the Argentinian presidency of the G20 that came here to work in the Saudi presidency of the G20 meetings that took place, and some of them stayed. There's one Argentine that is still here. So there are many, many things. I cannot synthesize. It's still small, but I see them growing, and growing very fast.
نتحدث اليوم عن حجم تبادل تجاري ما بين المملكة والأرجنتين يصل تقريبا إلى 1.3 مليار دولار، يعني وتميل حقيقة لنكون منصفين تميل كفة الميزان التجاري لصالح الأرجنتين. حجم صادرات المملكة إلى الأرجنتين يصل إلى 82 تقريبا مليون دولار. في المقابل تصدر الأرجنتين للمملكة بما قيمته 1.2 مليار دولار. لذلك هذه الأرقام أنا أعتقد ما زالت طموحة. هناك حقيقة بعض المواد الأولية الطبية الأرجنتين رائدة فيها، ستكون لها موضع قدم هنا. أيضا الأرجنتين لديها قطاع خاص يبحث عن تلمس فرص استثمارية في المملكة. المملكة اليوم وضمن رؤيتها المملكة 2030 لديها العديد من الفرص، ترحب حقيقة بأي دولة تريد أن تدخل شراكات استثمارية. اليوم في أي دولة إذا بحثت في خريطة الشرق الأوسط وتبحث عن دولة تستثمر فيها، أنا أعتقد بأن المملكة هي الوجهة الأولى. استقرار سياسي، استقرار اقتصادي، استقرار اجتماعي، لديها رؤية واضحة طموحة 2030 وربما تمتد إلى 2040.
Before the World Cup started, I had a couple of meetings of high-level officials here in Saudi Arabia, and they came to me in a sort of shy way and saying, "Ambassador, can you please use your influence so that Argentina does not beat Saudi Arabia?" So Argentina wins, but it doesn't win for many goals. Let's say 1 or 2 goals, you know. a result that is presentable for us. I laugh, we all laugh because of the request. And, you know, we go into the first match and Saudi Arabia defeated us. And that was not, I think, on the plans of anybody. All the people, they came to me saying, well, we beat you, but you're going to get to the final. All of them, unbelievable. And it was like that. Not only we did get to the final, but we won. And we won the cup, and at the same time, we were defeated by Saudi Arabia early on during the tournament. So, to an ambassador, that's the best of the worlds. Because people in Saudi Arabia have a lot of respect for Argentina, and at the same time, they're very happy for having defeated the Argentine team. I think this is one of the most attractive places to be in the world right now because of what's going on here in Saudi Arabia, which I try to give a glimpse of different activities that are being propelled up and that in many cases are related to Vision 2030. I would like to give a special salute to the crown of Saudi Arabia. I wish them well, essentially. I wish them well, and I wish not just Argentines, but people from all over the world to take a closer look to what is going on in Saudi Arabia. Because what's going on here is unique. It's unique, and it's worthwhile devoting some time to look at this and to see how things that happen here can interact with things that are being done outside of Saudi Arabia.